Children, gorillas, and death.
Oh yeah, that's. See, this is great. If I had said the original subject, it wouldn't be as interesting. It's children, gorillas, and death. Here's how that goes, and it just is beautiful. The golden age for me with children was when in my church, and I joined UCC to have sort of the loosest Christian background, more or less doing what Jesus would do, which wouldn't be a Republican and playing golf and looking at his oil stocks. And so they allowed me at this UCC church to take the kids instead of to the service. I could take them after I taught them some songs. We started at the hospital where we sang to some of our congregation members, usually elderly, in the hospital. And that turned out to snowball. There is nothing more adorable than 6 to 12 kids, roughly from 5 to 10 or 11. There's a neat button at 11. They don't want to be caught with the Sunshine Singers. So I had these adorable kids for about 6 years and stories that I find hard to believe. So we start singing for somebody we knew, and invariably a nurse would stick her head in and say, "This is so beautiful. The lady across the hall would like you to sing." So now we troop over there, and then down in 107, oh, they heard about it, and so on. And one time the nurse says, "Could you just take 2 of the kids? We have a woman terminal, and I think she would love this." So now I bring 2. I had my son in there and another singer that was just wonderful. Jenny did this with me alone till she was 21, singing in places. So we go into a hospital room that I will never forget, because there's a middle-aged man on one side, a withered skeleton of an old lady in the bed who's going to be dying, and another middle-aged person. And I still remember we sang Kumbaya, 2 of my best singers, and everyone has a gift. And the husband or son thanks me and leaves. We leave. A week later, I get a letter from him that his wife passed away 4 days later and thought she heard angels. There was a check for $25. This was 20 years ago, to take the kids to McDonald's. So that what I thought was his mother was his wife. So we go to the zoo. I had so many compliments from homes and so on. I didn't teach the kids, as somebody said, they usually come and sing church songs like we're dead. We knew some hymns, but we also knew Away with Rum, where they would act drunk, these adorable kids, to Away, away, away with rum by gum. It's a song of the Salvation Army. It had wonderful verses like, "I never eat fruitcake because it has yeast. I never eat fruitcake because it has rum. One little bite turns a man to a bum. Can you imagine a sorrier sight than a man eating fruitcake until he gets tight?" People love laughing. We did This Little Light of Mine, but we did it in a way that they would take the arm of elderly people and they would be their grandparents, and we would use all kinds of, from tickling to hugging and so on. It just was adorable. And they knew songs like Boa Constrictor, "I'm Being Eaten by a Boa Constrictor," a Silverman song that's famous. We knew a monkey song where chorus went ooh, 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 ah, 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 ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah. Ooh, 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 ah, 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 ooh, 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 ah, 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 ah. And kids loved that. We had a choir come sing to our church, young college kids. They ended up down in the lower level where we had ice cream and refreshments, dancing with the kids with their robes flashing to ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah. So we're at the zoo. We knew grizzly bear. It was incredible. By the time I was done, these kids knew 70 songs, not by heart always. We had some of the things in a little booklet they carried. And again, God guides me in different ways. That's why I love that Patch Adams is inspired by me, because I thought he was crazier than I was. I have a picture that I whip out. I don't think I've shown this yet, right? Patch Adams with his arm around me at his Gesundheit Institute saying, "I'll tell you why I love Ralph. He's the wackiest man I ever met. He helps the earth. Who else would be singing to my dogs at breakfast?" And I've done all 3. Because if you love children, you have to be a little crazy, and it brings joy to people. So now we're at the zoo, and again, I don't know what told me this, but this is famous. There is a monument to Mandara, a giant gorilla that was left abandoned at some zoo, and they gave it to Milwaukee Zoo as a baby. And we go to the zoo, and everything is ad lib. We are singing Grizzly Bear to the grizzly bear. I'm going to tell you the story about it, and they shout, "Grizzly Bear." He has great big teeth, that grizzly bear. And I have to say, the grizzly bear seemed to enjoy it. And we sang "I'm Being Eaten by a Boa Constrictor" to a boa constrictor. Kids love this craziness. So now we're in the monkey house, and they're rocking the baby gorilla, Mandara, who is maybe 2, 3 months old. And who in his right mind would tell the kids, let's go up there, and we sing, "Hush, little gorilla, don't say a word. Mama's going to buy you a mockingbird," and it ends up, "You're still the cutest little gorilla in town." It's "Hush, little baby," with one word changed. The gorilla seemed to be sleeping, and we left, and we sang to the chimpanzee next door. And there we did that song, Mandara, and so on, that goes, "Ooh, ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah." Now, the 3 chimps seemed intrigued, and when we finished, one of them went, "Ah!" And like he was going to throw up and saying that was a rotten act. And I told kids, this is show business. You never know. Now, this may give some of the watchers, listeners, goose pimples. This is all true. I don't need the fake stuff because I can't believe the true stuff. A year later, we're at the zoo. Not quite a year later. It's summertime. And outdoors now, Mandara the gorilla is running around, and it's a neat point to kids, which is physically more advanced, a 1-year-old baby or a 1-year-old gorilla. The gorilla by far. At 1 year, it's 3 feet high, and it's loping around. And one of the keepers said, that's the gorilla you're seeing as a baby, who is across this fenced-in area, but it's huge. Now, I'm not making this up. I can see it like it happened yesterday. Who in his right mind would tell the kids, let's get up to the bars, they're right in front of us. They were about 5 feet high so that the gorillas couldn't go over them. They weren't endless. And you're looking at this green grass where the gorillas are running around. And we start, "Hush, little gorilla, don't say a word." And Mandara, who's across the field, freezes. Turns to me, comes loping over, and clung to the bars, staring into my eyes. I had trouble hanging onto the guitar. Is that incredible? We thought she was sleeping when we sang. I never would thought that music, but think of it. How many gorillas have had somebody sing to them? And she ran away when I stopped. That has to say something about the intensity of music.